This is Jax and his week 2 recap. Hi, buddy. How are you doing today? Good boy. Right there. So similar to what we did last week, this week we're going to start by warming him up and charging his clicker. Good boy, sir. Wow, you're being so good offering those downs. So last week we charged the clicker a bunch of times. This week, not as many times. Okay. Jax! Good job, buddy. Moving right into playing the flying cookie game. Okay. Jax! Good. So flying cookie game, I'm going to toss that release cookie. So using my release word of okay. Once I toss that food away, as soon as he's done eating, that's when I'm calling his name. Okay. Jax! Good. And the moment I'm clicking is when I've said his name and he turns and he's on his way back to me. I'm going to click and then feed the food right next to me. Now, right now, working with a pretty tight space, so I can only toss my food in 2 different directions. Okay. Jax! Good boy. But when you guys are practicing this at home, I would really take advantage of the space that you have. So toss the food that way. Next time, toss the food that way. Really practice him running back to you guys, responding to his name from different points of the room. Good boy, sir. Good job. Okay. Jax, touch. Good job. So this week with our hand targets, we are working on fading having food in our hands to get the actual target. Jax is doing really, really well with this, so I'm also working on his distance. Okay. Jax, touch. Good boy. So kind of similar to how we just played the flying cookie game, I'm tossing a release cookie, and then as soon as he's done eating, I'm asking him to come back for a hand target. Good boy, sir. Okay. Touch. Good job. I'm making sure that I'm practicing those hand targets with both of my hands. Now, to be prepared to feed him, I do have the cookie ready in my clicker hand. So if I change it to the other hand, again, clicker's in this hand, cookie's under the clicker. So once he offers that hand target, I can come right in with that food. Oh, let me break that piece off, make it smaller. You're being a good boy. Okay. Touch. Good job, sir. Yes, that is really good. Moving on from our hand targets, the next thing I want to work on is going to be his sit. So that's a down, sir, but good job. This week with our sits, we're really working on the duration. So how long can he stay in that sit before he's released? Now, mind you, he's really loving this down right now. Okay. Jax, sit. Good boy. So click and feed the initial sit. I'm going to come in with a follow-up cookie to keep him in this position, and then a final cookie to release him. Okay. Jax, sit. Good. So also this week with the sit, we are asking for it with just that verbal cue. I'm no longer using food to lure him into this position. Okay. And again, as soon as he gets in his position, that's what I'm capturing. So that's what I'm clicking, and I'm still going to feed him. I'm just not using the food to get him in like we did last week. Okay. Jax. Pop, 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 pop. You ate it. Good boy. Okay, ready? Okay. Jax, sit. Good job, sir. Really good job. That's a down. Good. We can also start to slow down how quickly those follow-up cookies are coming in. Good. And while I love that he is offering these downs, that's not what we're working on right now. Okay. So if you are specifically working on a sit and he does that where he throws himself into the down, I would just use a hand signal to get him back up into that sit, and then we can continue rewarding for staying in a sit versus getting into this down. I know you're showing off. All right, ready? Okay. So that is our new position this week, is him being in a down. Down. Of course, now that I ask for it, he's going to be wild. All right, ready? Down. That's a good boy. So teaching a down, the food is going to start at nose level. He is attached to that food, and I'm going to slowly come down. Good boy. Now, as you can see, he is a food crazy boy. So he's so excited about the food that's in my hand. Down. Good job, buddy. So the moment that we're capturing is ideally when his butt is on the ground, elbows are on the ground, and I want him to be a little bit more still. Down. Very good boy. Next week, we will really work hard on building his duration of staying in this position. This week, we just need to master a still down. Good job, buddy. Yes, there you go for your duration. Good boy. Okay. Good job, sir. We will end on a good note. That was great. Okay. Jax. Good job, buddy. All right. Taking a little break from training, I will pull out my flirt pole, see if Jax has any interest in this today. Again, he loves food so much. He does have a hard time pausing the training and eating the food and playing with a toy. So I'll try for a few seconds, see if I can engage his interest. But like I said last week, when you guys bring him home and you're doing these things, I would spend maybe 10-15 minutes working through 2, 3, 4 different behaviors, and then be done training. Put the food away and try to engage him in some play. Good boy, buddy. What is this? Come on, Jax. Yeah, do you want the toy? I know you really want the food. That's okay. You're so focused. Alrighty. So the next thing that I want to work on is going to be his mat. So for the mat this week, we are on to stage 2. So the mat is going to stay stationary, and I'm going to be releasing him from the mat with the goal that he returns. Also, minimum criteria this week is that he at least gets into a sit. He's been doing really well, though, throwing himself into a down. So we'll see what happens. All right, Bubba's. For your mat. Very good boy. So clicking and feeding once he's in position, coming in with those follow-up cookies for him to stay on the mat. Good job, sir. And then a release cookie. Okay. Go to your mat. Good boy. He's so excited. There you go, sir. Good job. Okay. Go to your mat. Good job, bud. Again, limited space, so I'm just moving myself around to make sure that he can return to the mat even if I'm in a different spot. Very good boy. Okay. And then when you guys are home with this, I would make sure that you put that mat down in a spot where you can release him in different directions, again, to make sure that he can come back to this mat from different points of the room. So right now I am just going to pick it up and move it to do that. Go to your mat. Good boy. Good job, sir. Okay. Go to your mat. Very good boy. Right here. Okay. Good job, buddy. All right, and then another new thing that we worked on this week was loading in and out of the kennel. Right here. Okay. Make sure our kennel is in view. All right, Bubby.
I know, my gosh, you love it so much.
Good boy. So I tossed a cookie in there. As soon as he was 4 feet in, that's what I clicked and I fed. I'm now coming in with those follow-up cookies to keep him in the kennel, and then a final cookie to release him out. Okay. Jax, kennel. You're so silly. Yeah, bonk him in the head. Good boy. There you go. There, good boy. Okay. I threw it. You can go find it. No, I'll just go back in. Here. Okay. Jax. Kennel. Good boy. Another thing we worked on was being able to close the door and him stay relatively calm. Good boy, sir. So once that door is closed, I'm gonna click and feed him a piece of food. And then when I'm ready to open the door, I also wanna be ready with food. So I'm gonna have 2 pieces, one to feed him for staying in and one for releasing him. So door opens, food comes in. Yes, good boy. Final piece, okay. Kennel, all the way. Good boy. So we'll close the door. Good boy. Click and feed for closing it. Cookie for duration. It's a really good job. And then get ready for my 2 cookies. Open. Good job staying. Good boy. And final cookie. Okay. Yeah, good boy. That's a good boy. All right, we're gonna be done with that for now though. Okay. All right, the next thing I want to do is get him dressed in his gear. So this week we are doing the harness attached to the leash. With that, we are just going to have him drag the leash so he gets used to having something attached up, attached and behind him. Thank you for the kiss. I know.
Hey, give me your paws.
I know, I made it real awkward. Here, go boy. I know. The thought of staying still is terrible. So once he's in that gear, we'll go back into the flying cookie game. Okay. Jax. Good boy. Right there. Okay. Touch. Good. Might ask him for some hand targets to really get the movement and see that he doesn't care that something is attached to him. Okay. Pop up, touch. Good boy. You can also practice going back to week 1 of having him follow that food lure. So practicing him walking next to us while attached to this leash. Good boy. Very good job, sir. Jax! Good boy. Yeah, look at you not caring. All right, and then when we get our gear off, up. Good job. So lifting him up to make it easier to rip that Velcro off. And then once the Velcro's off, I'm setting him down with some food and letting him step out of the harness. Good boy. Okay. And then the final thing that we're gonna work on today is gonna be his handling exercises. So for this week, everything we worked on is gonna be the same as what we worked on last week. This week our goals are really just building the duration. So how long can he let me hold him with that baby restraint? I'm gonna start by counting to 3. Yes, that was probably more than 3 because I was talking. Yes, oh, you're so excited about the food, you're whimpering. Going for the tail. Yes, good, I'll do it one more time. Yes, okay. And then tossing that reset cookie just to give him a little break with that handling. Main goals for Jax are gonna be, of course, that he allows us to do this type of handling, but also that he can maintain staying relatively still, which he's doing very well at that. He's so excited about the food. His little body is quivering, but he's not all over the place like he was at the beginning of the week last week. He's doing very, very well with that. All right, Bubba's. Yeah, can we look at your ears? Oh, good boy. So he's attached to food. The ears this week, I'm flipping back and adding a little bit of massage. Yes, good boy. I waited him out there for those paws to go down a little bit. Other ear. Yes, good boy. Looking in his mouth, so trying to get a little bit further back. Yes, good boy. So last week we did a pretty quick just flip up. We could really only see those front canines. Okay. This week I want to try to get back a little bit further. Good boy. Yes, good job. I know it's hard to see on the camera. Okay. But with him attached to the food, we're just gently lifting that lip and then using our fingers to really lift it up further and look back. This is a good habit to have, especially for these young puppies. As they go to the vet, we're going to want to check to make sure that the baby teeth are changing appropriately, make sure he's losing those baby teeth. Also, it's good for dental care, so if you want to brush his teeth, that would be recommended. This is a good way to practice getting in there for future teeth brushings. All right, Bubs. So newest things with our handling this week was introducing some grooming tools. Right now I have a brush. So this week we're just going to do the flat side of the brush, not the bristle side just yet. He's attached to food, swiping down his back. Good boy. Attaching to food, swiping up towards his head. Good job. And then I also want to make sure he's comfortable with this coming down towards his chest. Does not care. Good boy. Okay. So think about all the places that he will need to be brushed. Definitely on his body, on the back, along the sides, and then on his head and on his chest as well. Okay. And then nail trimmers, the other new thing that we worked on this week. So very similar to how we started handling with the paws. He's attached to food. I am going to start at the shoulders and then glide down to those paws. Yes, good boy. Once I touch the paws, lifted them up, that's what I'm going to mark and feed. So sliding down to the back leg. Yes, good job. Okay. I know. Yes, good job. Yes, good. Okay, good job, bud. And that's it for Jax's week 2 recap.